In Algebra 2, Section 2.4 is linear equations, and what we're going to be doing in this is going to be our last section before your mid-chapter test. So they're introducing us two different forms, slope-intercept form and point-slope form. It's very important that you understand that point-slope form is an important equation, but if you can master slope-intercept form, you will be perfectly fine for your SATs, for your testing. I'm not going to require you to master both. I want you to understand both, but this one is the one that I need you to master, the slope-intercept form. And hopefully it looks familiar to you. It's y equals mx plus b. The term m, just like in the previous section, in section 2.3, is that means slope. And b is the y-intercept. Now if you remember with the y-intercept, it means what? It means that this number tells us where it crosses the y-axis. Okay? So the point slope form, instead of a slope and y-intercept, they're gonna have a slope and a point. Okay? So here's where the slope goes, and your point is x1, y1. So if they give you a point instead of a y-intercept, then you can go ahead and figure this out. So again, we have slope-intercept form and point-slope form. But for now, we're going to master slope-intercept form. So what they're going to do here is we're going to do example number 1. I don't know why this has 2 on here. We're going to do example number 1. It's our only example, so I want you to make sure that you completely understand this. So in the beginning of your homework, it's going to be pretty simple. They're going to give you a slope, okay, and they're going to give you a y-intercept, and you just plug it in, okay. And again, this is the equation you want to master. Y equals mx plus b. This is my slope-intercept form. So in this case, the hardest ones you're going to be facing, they're not going to give you the slope right away, and they're not going to give you y-intercept. They're going to give you 2 points. Okay? And with those 2 points, we can use this and still figure out how to write an equation. So we're going to try to figure out the equation without using graphing, which some of you guys pretty much enjoy because you hate graphing. So we're going to try to figure this out together. So first is to find our slope. Okay? They don't give us our slope, but we can figure it out by using the equation of slope that we learned from last section. So we're going to label this x1, y1, and we're going to label this x2, y2. Okay, so please remember that this is one of the more difficult problems you're going to be facing. So when you're doing your homework, your classwork in class tomorrow, it's going to start off a little easier. So these are more complicated, okay? So we're going to find the slope. The equation of slope, if you remember, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's plug it in. y2 is -4 and y1 is 1. So -4 minus 1. And this one is x2 is 8 and x1 is 6. So we end up with -5. -4 minus 1 is -5 over 8 minus 6, which is 2. So our slope is -5 over 2. Alright? Our next step is then we're going to plug it in. Okay? In your equation, this number and this number should be filled in. Okay? So we already have the m, which is -5 over 2, but we don't know what the y-intercept is. So in order for us to find the y-intercept, we're going to plug in an x and a y, and then we're going to solve. So remember how we were talking about equations? You can only solve an equation if you have a maximum of how many missing variables? That's one missing variable. But in this case, we only have m, so we have 3 missing variables. So we're going to use one of these points to find this missing variable, and then we'll have in our equation. Okay? So the next point, what we're going to do is, we're going to plug in one of the points. Just choose either points. I'm going to choose 6 and 1 because I like those numbers better than 8 and -4. So we're going to use 6 and 1, and we're going to plug this into x. So x, 6 comma 1 is our x, and 1 is our y, and our m is going to be -5 over 2. So I'm going to plug it in here. Y, okay, we know what y is. Y is going to be 1. Again, you can use any of the points here. Y is 1, okay, and then we're going to go equal, what's my m? Negative 5 over 2 times my x, which is 6, okay, equals, plus my b, which we don't have b, that's what we're looking for. So how many variables do we have missing here? Just one. Now, once we use x and y in this equation, we no longer will need it. We're only using x and y so that we can find which letter? B. So here, we're going to have 1 equals negative 5 times 6 is negative 30, because remember, if we put this in fraction, we just multiply. So negative 30 over 2 plus b. And what's negative 30 over 2? That's 15, negative 15 plus b. Now, how do I get rid of that 15? I do the opposite. Since this is negative, I'm going to add 15 to both sides. 1 plus 15 gives me, okay, b equals 16. All right? So again, one last time, when I have this equation, y equals mx plus b, my 2 that I need to fill in is m and b. The reason why I filled in x and y is because I didn't know what b was. I know what m is, so let's fill in what m is. M is negative 5 over 2. You see how that works? Okay? And my b, now that I've used x and y, I know what my b is, and that's 16. So my equation is y equals negative 5x plus 16. So one last time, to make sure that you understand it, this is my equation, and in order for me to have a correct answer, I need an m and a b. I knew what my m was. My m was, after doing the slope equation, my m is negative 5 over 2. I didn't know what my b was, so I used one of the points, it doesn't matter which one, and I plugged it in for x and y, and I solved for my missing letter, which is 16. So now I know what my b is, which is 16, and I don't put in anything for x and y. This is my final answer. So the equation of my line, okay, that passes through these 2 points, so an equation that passes through these 2 points is y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 16. So I know that's a lot of work. We broke it down to 3. First we found the slope, and then we found b, and then we plugged it in. So please make sure that you try page 82, number 6. It's the only problem for that for this lesson. But make sure that you show me all of your work, all the steps, so that I can get that. If you haven't done your vocabulary, go ahead and do so. And if you have any questions, go ahead and bring it in tomorrow, and I will see you then.